There's a particular kind of confusion that comes from working with a covert narcissist. It's not the confusion of being yelled at and not understanding why. It's something quieter, something that takes much longer to name. It's the experience of looking back at 6 months, or a year, or 3 years, and realizing that your confidence declined progressively. Your reputation in the organization shifted in ways you can't fully explain, and you spent a significant amount of that time believing it was your fault. And the person at the center of that experience, if you identified them at all, was probably not the person you would have predicted. The covert narcissist in the workplace is not the person everyone knows is the problem. They are the person nobody suspects, who is well regarded, who seems principled, who frames every criticism of you as concern, who presents every act of undermining as an attempt to help. This video is the complete profile. 4 phases, specific behaviors, 4 markers. At the end, that show you exactly where to look. If you've heard of narcissistic personality disorder, you probably picture the grandiose type. Loud, domineering, openly entitled, the person who talks over everyone in meetings, takes credit publicly, and makes no effort to conceal their belief that they're the most important person in the room. That person is dangerous, but they're visible, and visible threats are manageable threats. The covert narcissist operates differently. Where the grandiose narcissist seeks admiration openly, the covert seeks it indirectly, through sympathy, through the appearance of suffering, through positioning as the misunderstood one whose contributions are never quite recognized. Where the grandiose narcissist dominates loudly, the covert controls quietly, through passive aggression, through the kind of subtle undermining that leaves no fingerprints. They work in the shadows using manipulation with surgical precision while pretending to be humble and weak. They are the wolves in sheep's clothing of the personality disorder spectrum. In a previous video on this channel, the one about the nicest person in the office, we described someone who uses strategic agreeableness to gather information and build leverage. The covert narcissist is that person with the volume turned all the way up. Same mechanisms, same invisibility, but operating on a longer timeline with a more consistent internal drive and producing psychological consequences that are qualitatively different. The 4-phase cycle is what separates covert narcissistic behavior from ordinary, difficult behavior. Not any single action, the pattern. Remember these 4 names. Phase 1, the cycle begins with idealization. In a personal relationship, this looks like love bombing, intense attention, declarations of connection, the overwhelming sense that this person sees you completely. In the workplace, it looks different, but the mechanism is identical. The covert narcissist begins by identifying you as a source of something they need, not necessarily affection. In professional contexts, the supply might be your competence, your connections, your reputation, your access to information, or simply your willingness to do work that reflects well on them. Once you're identified as a source of supply, the idealization begins. They become unusually attentive. They express genuine sounding admiration for your work. They position you as someone different from the others, someone who actually understands things, someone whose contributions they deeply respect. They mirror your values, the things you care about, quality, fairness, creativity, integrity. They also care about those things, exactly those things, expressed in the same language. This mirroring is not accidental. Covert narcissists form a quick, intense connection with their targets, making them feel special, often through excessive admiration. In the workplace, the idealization might look like a manager who tells you privately that you're the strongest person on the team, a colleague who positions you as their closest ally, the only one who really gets it, a peer who elevates your contributions in conversations with leadership, making sure your name is associated with every success. It feels good. It's designed to feel good. The idealization phase creates attachment, a specific kind of emotional bond built around the belief that this person sees your real value. That bond is the foundation for everything that comes next. Phase 2, the devaluation phase, is where the cycle becomes psychologically destructive, and it's the phase most difficult to identify in real time because it never arrives dramatically. The transition is gradual, deniable at each step. One comment that seems slightly off, one meeting where you feel subtly excluded, one moment where the warmth that was there before is absent and you can't quite say why. Specific behaviors during this phase, the backhanded compliment. Your presentation was really good. for someone at your level. That was brave of you to say that in front of senior leadership. The public withdrawal of credit. Work that was our project during idealization becomes my project in devaluation. The strategic doubt seeding. Comments to mutual colleagues or to your manager, never directly, always framed as concern, that introduced questions about your reliability, your judgment, or your readiness for the next level. I'm concerned about you in the mouth of a covert narcissist means the opposite of what it sounds like. It means I am positioning you as someone who has a problem in a way that I can deny was ever my intention. The central experience of the devaluation phase, the one that makes it so effective, is that you begin to believe it. Not all at once, incrementally, because the person delivering the devaluation is the same person whose admiration you anchored to during idealization. If they valued you before, and now they're concerned, the most natural conclusion you reach is that you changed, that you did something wrong, that the problem is yours to fix. That cognitive trap is the core mechanism of the phase. The devaluation doesn't feel like attack. It feels like accurate feedback from someone who knows you. Phase 3. The discard phase is rarely a single event. In a workplace context, it looks more like a gradual exclusion, a slow removal from the spaces and conversations that matter. Meetings you used to be in, no longer projects you were a natural fit for, assigned elsewhere, introductions to senior leadership. Somehow, never quite happening. The discard often feels like annihilation because the person who seemed to know you most completely is the same person who walks away as if the relationship meant nothing. In the workplace, the discard serves two purposes. The first is practical. You have stopped being useful in the way you were. The second is self-protective. If the dynamics of the relationship are ever examined, the covert narcissist needs to have already established the narrative that you were the problem, that the distance developed because of your issues, not theirs. By the time the discard is complete, the record, built carefully, deniably, over months of strategic doubt seeding, suggests that your declining performance, your difficult relationships, explain the distance. The discard looks like a natural consequence of your own trajectory. Phase 4. Hoovering. Named for the vacuum cleaner for the function of pulling someone back in after they've been discarded. It arrives when the covert narcissist's supply from other sources is depleted, or when you show signs of genuine independence, of moving on, building something without them, becoming less available as a resource. In the workplace, the Hoover often arrives as an opportunity, a project you'd be perfect for, a recommendation they want to offer on your behalf, a conversation that suggests they've realized your value. If you respond, and the pull is designed to be extremely difficult to resist because it reactivates the emotional encoding from the idealization phase, the cycle restarts. Successful hoovering reestablishes the cycle on terms that favor the perpetrator, a new and more intense idealization phase, followed by a faster and more brutal devaluation. The response to hoovering is the same as any other phase: document, limit exposure, maintain external references, and remember that the warmth arriving now is the same warmth that arrived at the beginning and was followed by everything that came after. 4 phases. Here is where they show up right now, as 4 markers, each tracing back to a phase you just heard. If 3 or more apply, take it seriously. Marker 1 traces back to devaluation. Your self-assessment has changed significantly since this relationship began. Not just your confidence at work, your overall sense of your own judgment and competence. If you were more certain of your value 6 months ago than today, and the variable that changed was this relationship, that decline is the residue devaluation leaves behind. Marker 2 is the devaluation mechanism itself, still running. You spend significant mental energy trying to understand what you did wrong, not investigating a specific incident. Chronic background processing, a constant attempt to identify the thing you changed that caused the relationship to shift. The shift wasn't caused by something you did, it was scheduled. The same cognitive trap, still operating today. Marker 3 traces back to discard. Your reputation has shifted in ways that trace back to this person's sphere of influence. Here's what that looks like concretely. The meetings, the reassignments, the introductions that never happened. Did they start clustering around the same period this person's warmth toward you started to cool? That timing overlap is the connection. Marker 4 is your vulnerability to hoovering. The person still has the emotional access to you, even when you've decided they shouldn't. A message from them still produces a response: anxiety, hope, confusion. Disproportionate to the professional relationship. That disproportionate response is the attachment built during idealization, doing exactly what it was built to do. 4 phases: idealization, devaluation, discard, hoovering, and 4 markers still running. The cycle is consistent across relationships, across contexts, across time. I want to say something directly before this video ends. If you recognize yourself in this cycle, not as the person operating it, but as the person it was operated on, the confusion you carried was not yours. The systematic erosion of your self-assessment was not evidence of your limitations. It was a predictable outcome of a specific mechanism applied to someone with real capabilities and genuine investment. You were not weak for not seeing it. The covert narcissist's core advantage is that the cycle is almost impossible to see from inside it. You can only see it clearly from a distance. Naming it, even now, even after, is the distance. This is the last video in the first arc of this channel. 9 videos. The gaslighting boss, HR's real purpose, the open office, job insecurity as calibration, the nicest person, the phrases that push back, and now, this. What comes next expands the frame. The same mechanisms in different contexts, the same playbook in different rooms. If you want to keep seeing clearly, subscribe.